why did Mr. McMahon fake his own death? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you what exactly happened with this wacky story and the true story of it, because it's actually remarkable. If you go back in 2007, what went on with this character? What went on with everything that was leading up to this pivotal moment, and what happened afterwards that changed the course of wrestling history? And in order to understand why they did this, there are so many layers to this story that it's truly fascinating. And I think you're really, really going to enjoy this story about why the Mr. McMahon character faked his own death, right? Because the Mr. McMahon character, well, it obviously stems from the Montreal Screwjob. Coming out of Survivor Series in 1997, when Bret Hart wouldn't honor the time-long tradition of dropping said championship when he left the WWE for WCW, Vince McMahon decided to take it in his hands. And he decided to have Earl Hebner help him screw Bret Hart when, obviously, Shawn Michaels put in the sharpshooter and won the WWE Championship in Canada, all because Bret didn't want to drop the freaking title. Ugh. So coming out of that show, McMahon was crucified for it, and so he's like, let's make some money. And so he created this character, which changed the business forever. That character feuding with Steve Austin, their hottest star at the time, it took off. And so throughout the years, he continued this story, this feud, and character. And then we get to 2007, and this is where things really pick up. Because the storyline in 2007, when McMahon was killed off on live television, it sparked significant media attention. And WWE, they had the opportunity to fully leverage this narrative. However, it fell short, and it became one of the most disappointing storylines at the time. The storyline was short-lived, lasting only just about 2 weeks before being abandoned. And here is what happened. So we have to start with McMahon's rivalry with Donald Trump. It ultimately led, at one point there was a time where Trump bought Raw, right? And the stockholders were like, no, well, that's actually later on, but McMahon's rivalry with Trump, it lasted a while. And it was lasted off and on. But in 2007, it ultimately ended with a battle of the billionaires at WrestleMania 23. When Umaga was representing McMahon and Lashley was representing Trump. Yes, Donald Trump was once a babyface. Wow. Now, obviously, McMahon, Umaga, they came up short. Umaga lost the match, and McMahon lost his hair. Now, coming out of WrestleMania, Trump, he went off, did his own thing, and McMahon continued his feud with Lashley. And at Backlash that year, with the assistance of Umaga and Shane McMahon, he defeated Lashley to win the ECW Championship, officially making him a 2-time world champion, believe it or not. Now, despite the lackluster feud, it arguably helped make Lashley a bigger star. And Lashley later reclaimed the title at One Night Stand, and following that loss, it had a profound impact on him, leading to erratic behavior, to the point where he dropped the N-bomb on programming. Now, the death angle, well, they were really, really going to go all out for this, to the point where they were going to bring in Vince McMahon's real-life brother, Roderick. Now, Rod has never been seen on WWE television, and obviously wasn't in this angle, and hasn't been seen on WWE television ever. But they were going to try to do it. Now, former WWE writer Kurt Bauer shared his insights on the abandoned storyline, which I will get to in a minute. But let's go back. So you had McMahon at the closing end of Monday Night Raw. He's walking out. There's people in the background. He gets into a limo. He closes the door. Boom! It explodes, right? Now, there was a memorial show for Vince in the works, but it never came about due to the Chris Benoit incident, where that horrific SOB killed his family. And that had to nix what WWE had planned, which was a memorial show for Mr. McMahon. Instead, they did a tribute show to Benoit before they found out the horrific actions of Chris Benoit. Now, Court Bauer had this to say about the abandoned storyline. He said, "I always think about what could have been because we were preparing to introduce Vince McMahon's lesser-known brother Roderick. His family was supposed to appear the following week and be part of McMahon's funeral. I believe it would have been intriguing because people tend to forget Vince has a brother, and I think that storyline would have been incredible." Now, the idea behind this, and this is the true story as to why. Here's the reason they did this. McMahon, in character, the reason he faked his own death was because he wanted to feel appreciated by his own family members. Roderick, Linda, Stephanie, Shane, right? That was the idea. That was the big payoff. Now, would they have actually paid off this storyline in that, would he come back? Yes. This is my thinking. This is my speculation. This is just my opinion. This is what I think would have happened. I think they would have had each member of the McMahon family speak, and then I think each one by one, would have continuously insulted him and just said bad things about him to the point where he comes out and he's like, "Look at me, I'm not dead." I think that's would have been the case, and then they would have took off from there. I don't know. That's just my take. But I remember watching this as a kid. Jesus, I date myself. I'm almost 30, but I remember watching this as a kid and just being in disbelief of like, why? What is this? And then seeing him appear on the Chris Benoit tribute show, 2 weeks later or whatever it was, a week later. It's like, oh, okay. I knew wrestling was fake before then, or predetermined. My apologies, predetermined, y'all. I understood it was predetermined because you could just, you just notice things as kids, right? As you get older, as you get wiser. And it's like, that was a big one of like, oh, there's these angles, right? It's not like these guys are just coming out and just talking freely. It's like, no. Everything's coordinated, everything like that. But anyways, that is the true story of why Mr. McMahon faked his own death. Let me know down in the comments area below. Do y'all want to see more of this kind of content here on the channel? Make sure to hit that notification bell so you are notified every single time we upload new content here to the channel. Join the swell of support. Y'all are absolutely crushing it in that department, and I cannot thank you enough for helping change my life. And in this video, I sign off for now.